Alice, Sweet Alice is a 1976 horror movie from director Alfred Sole, who previous to this had only directed the 1972 pornographic film Deep Sleep, which resulted in Sole getting charged with obscenity as well as being excommunicated from the Catholic Church. That would probably explain all the religious overtones in this one. The film was shot and originally released under the title Communion, but distributors were worried audiences would think it was a religious film and not a horror movie and changed the title to Alice, Sweet Alice. Then, a few years later, when actress Brooke Shields became famous, it was released again under the title Holy Terror, with the marketing making it look like Shields was the star, even though she's only in it for the first 15 minutes. And there's even more alternate titles. In some places, the movie was released as The Mask Murders. Well, Alice, Sweet Alice is the most popular title, so that's the one I'm going with. Even if Alfred Sole personally hated it. Perhaps because of all the confusing titles, the movie was largely ignored when it was first released, but recently it's managed to not only get a cult following, but even some genuine scholarly attention as an overlooked artistic horror film. Like I mentioned, Alice, Sweet Alice originally didn't get much attention other than people mentioning it as Brooke Shields' first movie, and Alfred Sole would only direct two other films, Tanya's Island and Pandemonium, before spending the rest of his career as a production designer before his death in 2022. Recently though, the movie's been reappraised as having a lot more going for it than just Brooke Shields. This usually gets classified as a proto-slasher movie, and I can see why, but don't go into this expecting an 80s style slasher flick. This is very much a 1970s slow burn type of horror film. One that's more concerned with themes of religious guilt and the disintegration of a family than simply racking up a high body count. Of course, it does deliver the goods on a lot of the kill scenes too, and the scares never seem cheap or gratuitous. Paula Shepherd also does a great job as Alice, so it's a shame she was only in one other movie after this, 1982's Liquid Sky. Yeah, that's another one I'm gonna have to get to one of these days. Some of the other acting is a little hammy, but overall I'm glad this is finally getting more attention. It's an interesting little horror flick that deserves to be known as more than just Brooke Shields' first movie, and fans of 70s Italian horror flicks especially should give this one a look.